Welcome to MEC's 70th annual meeting. And if you're here today, you're interested in workforce development. Have you heard that word a lot in the past few years? Yes. So we're going to talk about a part of workforce development. We've developed them, we've graduated them. Now, what's next? So you see your panelists here. We have Rusty Anderson, Melissa Robbins, Jonathan Woodward, Ruth Montana. You see Sandy Chris, and you see Tanya Neely. I know if you're looking at the program, you're saying that's not Tanya Neely. You are correct. There's her older brother. She had jury duty today, so she cannot make it. So what do? Brothers step in for their sister. So you're okay with that, Paul? And plus, I couldn't make another 10 card, and I just thought it looked prettier for all of them to be consistent. So you guys bear with us, and if it bothers you, just raise your hand, and he'll turn it around. Is that okay, Paul? Absolutely. Great, great. So good morning once again. We're going to talk about the next steps of workforce development. We've talked about, we're educating these students. If you want to go into a trade, or if you want to go in the technical field, if you want to go into education. And now, what's next? How do we keep them here? How do we engage them and connect them with the business community? I was looking at the bios here, and we have collectively about 75 years of expertise on this stage here tonight in this field. So we might not have time for questions, but you can catch them because I bet you they can get an answer for you, or they can know someone that can. So I'm going to read their bios, and then we're going to get busy what we're here for today. So we have Rusty Anderson. Rusty Anderson has over 37 years of experience in higher education as a professional career consultant and trainer specializing in job search strategies. For 24 years, he has served the University of Southern Mississippi as the Director of Career Services. Anderson has taught courses as adjunct instructor in the departments of tourism management, psychology, and undergraduate studies, offering career management courses. Mr. Anderson received his master's degree in counseling psychology and undergraduate degree in social and rehabilitation services from the University of Southern Mississippi. Anderson has also presented during numerous conferences, professional associations, and corporate training seminars. Please welcome Mr. Anderson. Thank you. We have Melissa Robbins. And Melissa Robbins is a human resource consultant at Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Melissa Robbins is a human resource consultant company. She received a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Mississippi. Melissa has earned her SHRM Certified Professional Certification and Professional in Human Resource Certification. Other credentials held by Melissa include the Certified Benefits Professionals, Fellow Life Management Institute, Designation and Association Customer Service Designation. With over 14 years of experience, she is responsible for benefits, recruiting employee relations, and many other human resource related duties. Melissa is currently the president-elect for the Capital Area Human Resource Association and has previously served in many other roles in the past. She has also served on the board, including president and employer director for the Mississippi Association of Colleges and Employers. Melissa is involved with her church, Pine Lake, and serves as a committee member for Make-A-Wish of Mississippi Evening of Wishes. She is a member of the Junior League of Jackson. I'm sorry, Melissa, and she lives in Brandon with her husband Kevin and sons KJ and Cole. We can't. Jonathan Woodard, you guys, this is my brother. Jonathan Woodard, Executive Vice President in Teaching. He's a Leadership Mississippi alum. As a small-town Mississippi boy, Jonathan Woodard began a career as a singer, guitarist, and stepped into the realm of music leadership during his high school years. Dr. Woodard currently serves as Executive Vice President of Teaching and Learning and Community Campus for Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Previously, he worked at Gulfport School District, First Baptist Church of Gulfport, Cross Point Church, MGCC's Jackson County campus, and MGCCC's Jefferson Davis campus. Outside of school, Dr. Woodard has a variety of interests. He serves as the chair of the board of directors for the Gulfport Chamber of Commerce, board of trustees for Goodwill of South Mississippi, graduate of Leadership Mississippi, member of the Gulf Coast Business Council, graduate of Leadership Gulf Coast, and graduate of GCBC Master's Class. He is also a recipient of the One Coast Top 10 Under 40 Award. His most valued possession is his faith and family. Dr. Woodard helped to plant Cross Point Church and lives in Biloxi with his wife Elaine and 3 children, Jude, Levi, and Eden. Ruth Montana currently serves as Director of Human Resources for Keesler Federal Credit Union. Montana has over 25 years of experience in all aspects of human resources, including employee relations, labor relations, recruitment, compensation, and benefits training. She has served the Gulf Coast Human Resource Association in the position of President-elect, President, past President, and currently serves as the Certification Director. She is a member of the National Society of Human Resource Management and is SHRM Certified Professional. Sandy Chris is the State Director for Adult Education and High School Equivalents at the Mississippi Community College Board. Sandy has over 25 years of experience in developing and customizing training for educational settings as well as our business and industry. In her current position, she leads adult education initiatives for Mississippi and provides oversight for the successful implementation of the U.S. Department of Education, Title II, Adult Education and Family Literacy Act funds, along with Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014 as a core partner. Sandy serves as Executive Committee for the National Council of State Directors of Adult Education and is a member of the National Adult Education Professional Development Consortium State Staff Work Group to help plan and develop national meetings and training for adult educators across the state of Mississippi. Sandy also serves as Advisory Board for the Data Recognition Corps TABE Division and is a member of the Educational Testing Service Governing Board. Sandy resides in Brandon, Mississippi with her husband and son. Tanya Neely / Paul Summerall is an Associate Commissioner for Business and Economic Development in the Mississippi Institution for Higher Learning. His primary responsibility is to help form partnerships between Mississippi companies, economic developers, and state public universities in areas of research and business economic development. Paul has 14 years in this field of public education in the state of Mississippi. Prior to his work in the public sector, Paul worked in the private sector in banking, management, and was a small business owner. He also currently serves as Executive Director of the Mississippi University Research Authority. Rusty, we're going to start with you. We're talking about internships, and you've been 37 years at Southern Miss. Can you tell us, the importance, why it's important for students to participate in internships, and how does the businesses benefit from this?
Good morning. Thanks for letting me come here. I was a little worried when she said there was combined 75 years because I had half of them. So I was glad that I heard some other years down the road here, but thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you today. And the reason that we encourage students and students who get internships, for the obvious reason, it gives them a way to apply what they're learning in the classroom into the workplace. But more importantly, they can start developing those soft skills that you employers are telling us that you want our graduates to have: the analytical thinking, the communication, problem solving, the ability to work with teams. So we're able to not only give them those opportunities and internships in your sites, but we can also get feedback about our students performing in your sites, about are we teaching them what we need to be teaching them. So it's sort of a cyclical process. And of course, from a career services director's perspective, we like them to get these experiences so they enhance their resumes. It makes them more marketable. They can learn the value of networking, and from a career services practitioner also, it allows students to really find out what they like to do and not do. Surprisingly, there's a lot of graduates from colleges and universities that really don't know what they want to do. They just know they're getting a degree. And so getting out in your types of environments and your industries allows them to test the waters a little bit. And then additionally, I think for interns, it allows them to see that probably they're not going to do the same job for the rest of their life. We know that most students are going to do 7 to 10 jobs in their lifetime, so they can get into your companies and say, okay, this is my starting point, but where will I be in 5 years? Where can I be in 10 years if they stay with you that long, which they probably won't? And where can I be in 20 or 25 years? So it's a lot of benefits for exposing students to your industry. About 85% of students at Southern Miss work as they go to school, but those jobs are not really teaching them the professional skills they need. So getting them internships where they can meet with individuals such as yourself and get some mentoring and get some coaching and get some help is very, very valuable to them, so that when they start entering the workforce, they have more knowledge. I think the final thing I would say is sort of selfishly, internship is a good pathway into a full-time job. We find through the National Association of Colleges and Employers, for example, that about 59% of internships get offers. And about 75% of those internships accept offers, which is a conversion rate of about 46%. So if you want to look at how to boost your hiring process and your success, then I would really encourage you, if you don't have an internship, to consider an internship. We have PepsiCo International that recruits, and their conversion rate is 86%. So when they place a student in an internship, there's a good chance that they're going to keep that internship.
Thank you, Rusty. So you said selfishly, you use that as a recruiting tool, and I see that Melissa at Southern Farm Bureau, you guys have a long relationship with Southern Farm Bureau, so I guess selfishly you use that as a recruiting tool too to get employees on your job. So tell us about that relationship, and also talk to me about what skills they learned being an intern at Southern Farm Bureau.
Sure. Thank you for having me today. I have not been at our company for as long as Rusty has, but I've been there for almost 15 years this year, and ever since I've been there, I've known Rusty. So we are very thankful for the partnership that we have with Southern Miss, and it has been a great recruiting tool. I encourage all of you who are in the business field to have a relationship with all the schools in Mississippi. They have a great career services, and that is just a huge driver for us in recruiting. We can call on them and tell them we have a actuary position open and send us your best math students, and they do, and most of the time we hire them. So it's become a great partnership. So I encourage you, get with career services in all the different colleges, and if you have graduating high schoolers, encourage them from the get-go to get in career services, because it is a huge benefit for students to have access to that. So, but for our internship, we started really small. We started in 2007 with a more formal internship. We had started out with 3, and now we have grown to where we have 12 summer internships each year. So we're very thankful for the growth and the opportunities that we have there. Almost every year we hire at least 1 out of those. So when it was 3, 1 was really good odds. Now we are still hiring about 1 or 2, and all of those but 1, we have hired 12, and all but 1 still actually work for us. So that's huge for us. We have real low turnover, and I think our odds are a little better than most of our employees probably don't have 7 to 10 jobs, but our employees stay for a really long time. So for us, the advantage of internships is to find the right match. We are, recruiting is a two-way street. It's not one way. A lot of times people think the company has all the say-so, but we don't want it to be that way. We want the students to be able to come in, see what we do. Insurance, a lot of students don't really know a lot about insurance unless they have family members who have been in it. So it's a great way for them to come in and see all the different departments and opportunities that we have, and then also see if they fit in with our company culture. Cubicle type setting is not for everybody, and that's okay. We want them to have the opportunity to come in and see it and then decide. So it's been a really great, a very valuable benefit for us to have the internship. So I would encourage everyone to start one if you don't have one.
Thank you. So, Jonathan, we're talking about internships. You hear the word internship and you hear the word apprenticeship, and a lot of people say, what is the difference? What's the difference between the two? Can you talk to me about that and tell the audience what's the difference between an internship and apprenticeship, and tell us what do the students gain from these apprenticeships, and what do you tell them? We looked at your bio, and you're always in the church. So what do you tell them to encourage them to participate and to motivate them that this is a great thing for them and the company that they're going to work for?
Sure. Now, that's not a trick question on defining apprenticeship, is it?
Maybe.
Let me say this. The reason I ask that is because we need to be real careful in how we define apprenticeship and internship. I don't want to be fanatical about the definition, because different sources of money can fund initiatives depending on what you call it. All right, so, back in the day, I taught elementary school, and this did not happen, but I'm just going to give you an example of the kind of thing that could happen, all right? You may have a student that had a learning disability, and the next year they were given a label of they were autistic. And you ask, now, what is the difference? Now, both of those things were true, but why this year would we label them learning disabled and the next year autistic? Because the funding stream changed, and it was a higher fund for one versus the other. And I think if you were to lobby and ask people around the state, how do you define apprenticeship? A lot of people would say apprenticeship is a very broad category because, primarily, to be honest with you, it's because of the funding stream. And at the end of the day, it's about how can we best train the workforce of Mississippi? How can we best do that in the cheapest way, in an attractive way for business, at an efficient way from an educational standpoint? However, I know you did ask me to define it, so I'll define it a little bit, all right? So if Woody Middleton was in the room, is Woody in the room? I don't know if he is. He is the head of the local state rep for Department of Labor over apprenticeship. And he would tell you one of the main differences is that an apprentice is an employer-driven process, and an apprentice is a full-time, long-term, that is the federal definition through the Department of Labor. So let me give you an example. We heard this awesome statistic that 59% of interns go on to get a job offer, which is phenomenal. Guys, that's incredible. I would tell you in the definition I just gave, 100% of apprentices have already a job before they are trained. Because in a traditional sense, an apprentice is somebody that already is hired by a company. The company makes the decision to hire. Huntington Ingalls is a great example of apprenticeship in the state. We've had a partnership with Huntington Ingalls doing apprenticeship for over 60 years. And those are employees that are already hired into their apprenticeship program, and then we provide the training. Whereas internship may be full-time, may be part-time, but it's not a guarantee over a long time. They may not get benefits. There's paid internship, there's unpaid internship, all of which have guidelines. But if you just kind of break it down to its basic element, it's about you're already hired by a company, full-time, with benefits and everything. That's an apprentice. Almost everything else we could put over here in the internship basket. So in terms of recruiting students and what are the benefits for an apprentice, that's easy. You're going to get a salary, you're going to get benefits, and you're going to get training that is customized to your skill set while you're also getting RTI, which is in the classroom training, and it's going to make sense. Real-time learning with your OJT or OJL, as you're used to that term. Whereas an internship, usually you get some training, and then you go become an intern, and you're learning how to employ that training in the business setting. So there are some nuance of difference between the two, but at the end of the day, what we would categorize as apprenticeship or internship, right now, to some degree, depends on where our source of funding comes from and what was allowable within that source of funding.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to take a quick break and tell you, if you're on social media, talk about what you're learning here. Like I said, this is over 75 years of experience here at this table. So for those that are not in this room, share with them what you're learning here today and tell them that you're in Mississippi Economic Council annual meeting, 70th annual meeting. So we talked about apprenticeships, we talked about internships. Ruth, you're there on the Gulf Coast in Keesler, and you guys customized a internship to fit you. Can you tell me about that and tell me how you work with Gulf Coast in doing that and the advantages of you hiring these at Keesler?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning. Yes, our apprenticeship program is unique in that we are the first credit union in the state of Mississippi to have an apprenticeship program. And we are very excited for our partnership with Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Have you ever planned a vacation to a destination that you've never been to before? That's what it's like, planning an apprenticeship program. You get there and there's some things that you didn't plan for, like maybe you need a bigger budget. Everybody wants to go on vacation with you, or maybe you're just trying to cram too much in a short period of time. But at the end of the day, it becomes a very great roadmap for what you want to improve for your next trip. So in designing our program, we were not looking for an earth-shattering, out-of-the-box program. We just wanted a program where we could develop our talent and ultimately serve our members better. And so we did explore the number of different modelship programs that Mississippi Gulf Coast had to offer before we committed to the bank branch manager apprenticeship program, which is a program that we have in place today. We also considered the length of the program because apprenticeship programs can last anywhere between 1 and 4 years, and our model is a 2-year model. It is 4,288 hours. It's a combination of on-the-job learning as well as about 325 hours of coursework. We took our job description as a branch manager and we did a crosswalk. We worked with Mississippi Gulf Coast to do a crosswalk and compared the competencies that were necessary for the position against the courses that were offered at the college. And we came up with 7 courses that the apprentices are taking. And then once we had that right model in place, we had to gain buy-in, right? What's the sense in having a program if it's not going to be, if you're not going to have the participation that you need to keep it alive? And it was during those discussions that we determined that we really need an online platform because we have so many branches throughout the state and even into other states that we decided we needed an online platform. And so we worked with Mississippi Gulf Coast, and we are the first employer to be able to take online classes, workforce classes, through an online platform. We established the criteria and then began the selection process. We also created an internal website to keep our employees learning at Keesler. On the website, we posted the position. We also shared, how do you apply for the apprenticeship program. Once the program was launched, we have mentors that we identified we have mentors that are working with the apprentices. And so we created an internal email account for ongoing discussions and program feedback. Each apprentice is given a logbook to journal their daily task. And this was very helpful to us to actually create the job process and to create some standard operating procedures. Each of the apprentices, while they are not actually earning a degree, they are earning college credits, and at the end of the program they will have 21 college credits that can be used if they decide to pursue a higher education. And of course, the last element of the design was what's in it for me, right? And so there is a rewards for skills gained in the apprenticeship program. It is actually a standard requirement of the Department of Labor, but the employer decides on what that looks like. And so I believe that the second half of your question is what are the advantages of hiring an apprentice? Well, number one, you have a formalized training that is created out of that. You are also able to ensure that the apprentices that you have in the program, you're able to create some standard operating procedures because too often when you have multiple locations, you might hear that, well, we don't do it at this location. So that's one advantage, is that you are able to mold the apprentice into doing things for the desired outcomes that you're looking for. The apprentices, the program is 100% paid for. So the apprentice gets to get the education that they're looking for. They get to earn college credits, and then of course they walk away debt-free. For us, we believe that the program is building loyalty. It's a retention tool, and but most importantly, we're here for our members, and so hiring an apprentice allows us to develop our talent and ultimately deliver a better member experience for our members.
Thank you, Ruth. So before we go to Paul and Sandy, we're going to circle back to Jonathan and Rusty, if it's okay, and tell us, you talked about recruitment, you talked about placement, and we know your partnership with Keesler and Southern Farm Bureau. Tell me what other industries and companies you work with, and is there a need? We have business leaders in the room. Is there a need from companies here that you're looking for placement and recruitment?
Sure. Well, once again, we don't want to be fanatical about apprentice, right? I think anybody could have an apprentice program, to be honest with you. Melissa, I'd love to talk to you about insurance right after this. But in all seriousness, we right now are talking to a variety of companies because for many, many years, I think when people hear the word apprentice, a few things come to your mind. One is the German apprenticeship model, right? That's one of the first things that come to your mind. Another thing that comes to your mind is the traditional craft skills. But we're seeing a very successful program with Keesler Federal Credit Union in the banking world. We are talking with the hospitality industry along the coast. Another thing that comes along in your mind when you say apprentice is union, but those two things are wildly different. Just because you have an apprentice program does not mean it has to be unionized. So we just signed a partnership with the University of Southern Mississippi where we're taking students, and it's really going to be a teacher apprenticeship program to train the future teachers, and maybe this is a way we can address the teacher shortage in the state of Mississippi. So if you are in the room, it's really a mindset switch. Traditionally, we think people go off and get a 2-year degree and then they come work for me, or they get a 4-year degree and they come and work for me. Apprenticeship flips that on its head. In its truest sense, apprenticeship is you're hiring somebody from the outset that you intend from day one to get both training and on-the-job learning at the same time. So there really is not boundaries on what can be an apprenticeship. It's really a matter of your imagination and your willingness to have a workforce that is by design growing from within rather than hiring folks that have already been trained.